The hook of the rod sliced through the air like a scream I couldn't voice, embedding itself in the lake's glassy surface with a splash that echoed my pounding heart. "You think you can handle this, kid?" Uncle Ray's voice rumbled low, his calloused hand brushing mine as he passed the reel, a touch that lingered one beat too long and set my skin ablaze. In that instant, as the line tightened and pulled us both forward, I knew this wasn't about fish anymore. It was about the man who just reeled me into a depth I wasn't ready to drown in. I was 17, awkward as a half-grown colt in the sprawling suburbs of Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the Huron River wound lazy through college-town dreams and the kind of quiet desperation that comes from knowing you're different but not quite sure how to say it out loud. School was a grind of AP classes and football pep rallies I faked my way through, cheering for the Wolverines on Fridays while my eyes wandered to the lithe lines of the quarterback's neck instead of the scoreboard. My parents were the salt-of-the-earth type. Dad a mechanic at the Ford plant, Mom juggling shifts at the diner. Good people who loved me fierce but blind, the way Midwestern folks do when they've got mortgages and meatloaf recipes to worry about. They didn't know I was gay. Hell, half the time I wasn't sure myself until nights like this one, when the weight of it pressed down like the humid August air. My best friend, Jake, was the only one who'd cracked that shell a little. We'd been thick as thieves since kindergarten. Him the golden boy with his easy grin and Letterman jacket. Me the sidekick sketching comics in the margins of our history notes. Jake's family lived 2 blocks over in a ranch-style house with a backyard that backed onto a creek, the kind of place where fireflies danced like secrets at dusk. His Uncle Ray was the wild card in that deck. Jake's mom's brother, a broad-shouldered ex-Marine who'd washed out of the service after a knee injury and settled into carpentry gigs around town. Ray was in his early 40s, with salt and pepper stubble that caught the light like frost on pine needles, and eyes the color of Lake Superior on a stormy day, deep, unreadable blue. He wasn't around much, crashing on the couch when jobs dried up, but when he was, he filled the room like a low summer thunder. It started innocently enough that afternoon after school. Jake and I were sprawled on his living room floor, controllers in hand, blasting through another round of Call of Duty, while his mom hollered from the kitchen about dinner being ready in 10. Ray wandered in from the garage, wiping grease from his hands on a rag, his flannel shirt rolled up to elbows that showed faded tattoos from his Marine days. An eagle clutching an anchor, the ink blurred like old regrets. "You boys still pretending to be soldiers?" he teased, his voice gravelly from years of cigarettes he swore he'd quit. Jake laughed, tossing a pillow at him, but I froze, my thumb slipping on the joystick. Ray's gaze landed on me, steady and appraising, like he was measuring a beam for a load-bearing wall. "Elliot, right? Jake's shadow." He extended a hand, and when I shook it, his grip was firm, warm, the kind that makes you feel seen for the first time. "Heard you like to draw. Ever sketch anything worth a damn?" I mumbled something about comics, my cheeks burning, and Jake jumped in with his usual bluster. "Elliot's got talent, Uncle Ray. He's gonna be the next Jim Lee or something." Ray chuckled, a sound that rumbled through his chest like distant waves, and clapped me on the shoulder. "Good. World needs more storytellers. Hey, you ever been fishing? Real fishing. Not this video game bullshit." Jake groaned. "Uncle Ray's obsessed. Takes me out every summer. Bores me to tears with worm-baiting lectures." But Ray's eyes stayed on me. "What about you, kid? Up for it? After school tomorrow. I'll pick you up. Teach you how to hook a bass that'll make your old man jealous." I should have said no. Should have stuck to the safe rhythm of homework and hanging posters in my room of superheroes who never had to hide. But there was something in his voice, a quiet challenge laced with kindness, that tugged at me. "Sure," I said, before my brain caught up. "Why not?" The next day dragged like molasses. Biolab with its formaldehyde stink. English where we dissected The Great Gatsby. And I wondered if Fitzgerald ever felt this hollow ache for someone he couldn't name. By the bell, my stomach was knotted tighter than the laces on my Converse. Ray's truck was idling at the curb. A beat-up Ford F-150 with rust kissing the wheel wells and a bumper sticker that read, "I'd rather be fishing." He leaned out the window, aviators perched on his nose, waving me over with that easy grin. "Hop in, partner. Adventure awaits." The drive to Dexter Lake was 20 minutes of small talk that felt anything but small. He asked about school, my drawings, what I wanted to do when I grew up. Like he actually gave a damn. I told him about wanting to illustrate graphic novels, stories about outcasts finding their tribe, and he nodded, serious as a confessor. Outcasts, huh? Been there. Marines chew you up if you don't fit the mold. He didn't elaborate, but the way his jaw tightened told me there was a story there, buried deep like a hook in flesh. The lake was a mirror of the sky, flat and blue under the late afternoon sun, ringed by oaks that whispered in the breeze off the Huron. We parked at a gravel pull-off, Ray hauling out a tackle box scarred from years of use and 2 rods that looked like extensions of his arms. Lesson 1, he said, baiting a hook with a night crawler that wriggled pink and helpless. Patience. Fish don't bite if you're rushing like a fool in love. His laugh was self-deprecating, but his eyes flickered to mine, holding just a second too long. We cast off the bank, lines arcing graceful into the water, and for a while, it was pure, uncomplicated joy. The plunk of lures, the hum of bobbers, the occasional curse when a snag pulled us in. Ray was a natural teacher, patient, his big hands guiding mine around the reel without crowding. His voice dropping to a murmur as he explained drag tension and fly patterns. Feel that? That's the fight. The pull that says it's worth holding on. I nodded, my pulse sinking with the water's lap against the shore, stealing glances at the way his shirt clung to his shoulders, damp from the humidity, the fine lines at his eyes when he smiled. As the sun dipped lower, painting the lake in strokes of orange and rose, the conversation turned deeper. He asked about my family, and I shrugged off the usual. Dad's bad back, Mom's endless shifts. They're good people, I said. Just busy. He hummed, reeling in slowly. Busy's code for not seeing what's right in front of him. My sister, Jake's mom, she's the same. Thinks I'm the black sheep, 'cause I never settled down. Truth is, I saw too much overseas. Lost buddies who deserved better. Makes you question what settling even means. I swallowed, the worm on my hook twisting in sympathy. Question what? He paused, line taut. Who you are, who you love, the lies you tell to keep the peace. The words hung heavy, and when he looked at me, there was no pity, just raw, unguarded truth. My throat tightened. Did he know? Could he see the secret I'd inked into every hidden sketch? The boys in my stories who kissed under street lamps? A tug on my line shattered the moment. A bass, fat and furious, thrashing silver in the shallows. Got one. I hooped, adrenaline surging as Ray coached me through the reel, his hands steady on my back. We landed it together, the fish slapping wet against the grass, scales glinting like forbidden treasure. He showed me how to unhook it gentle, release it back with a splash that sprayed us both. Laughing, breathless, I met his eyes, and time stuttered. Water droplets clung to his lashes. His grin was wide, unguarded. Nice work, Elliot. You're a natural. In that glow, with the crickets starting their evening chorus and the sky bleeding pink, I felt it, the spark, the terrifying bloom of want. Not for the fish or the lake or the escape from my ordinary life. For him, Uncle Ray, with his quiet storms and calloused care. And as we packed up, his arm brushing mine accidental on purpose, I wondered if he felt it too. Or if I was just the kid, the shadow, reeling myself into a line that would snap. The drive home was quieter, the radio tuned low to some classic rock station. Springsteen crooning about born to run hearts that never quite settle. Ray drummed his fingers on the wheel, humming along, and I stared out at the passing fields, golden under harvest lights. Thanks for today, I said finally, voice small. Best afternoon in forever. He glanced over, aviators off now, those blue eyes soft in the dash glow. Anytime, kid. Doors open. But there was a weight to it, a promise unspoken, and when he dropped me at my curb, his hand lingered on my shoulder again. Firmer this time, thumb tracing a circle that sent shivers racing down my spine. Get some rest. We'll do it again soon. I nodded, fumbling for the door handle, my mind a whirlpool of what-ifs. Inside, the house was dim, parents already at the table with TV trays and Jeopardy, blaring. "Good day, honey?" Mom asked, pecking my cheek. "Yeah." I lied, the taste of lake water still on my lips. Unreal. That night I couldn't sleep, sketched feverishly by flashlight. Ray's profile against the sunset, rod in hand, a hero from my comics but real, flesh and bone. The pull was there, undeniable, a current dragging me under. But he was Jake's uncle, twice my age, a man with ghosts in his grin. What was I doing? What did he see in me? A lost boy or something more? The text started the next morning. Not from Jake, who was buried in practice, but Ray. "Base was jealous of your catch. Lunch tomorrow? Got a spot by the river." My heart jackhammered. "Sure," I typed back, fingers trembling. It was innocent, I told myself. Mentorship. Adventure. But deep down, in the quiet chambers where truth hides, I knew it was the start of something that could flood us both. Over the next week, it became our ritual. After-school escapes to forgotten bends of the Huron, where the water ran swift and secrets hid in the eddies. Ray picked me up in that faithful truck, always with a thermos of black coffee for him and root beer for me, like he remembered every detail from our talks. We'd fish, sure, but mostly we'd talk. About everything and nothing. His time in Fallujah, the buddy he'd held as he bled out under a desert moon, made me promise to live full. You know? No half measures. My dreams of art school in Chicago, far from Ann Arbor's safe embrace. "Chicago's got grit," he'd say. "Suits you. But don't run too fast. Sometimes the best stories are right here." One afternoon, as thunderheads gathered like uninvited guests, we packed up early and drove to a roadside diner off US 23. The Blue Moon, with its neon sign flickering like a heartbeat and pie that tasted like home. We slid into a booth sticky with syrup residue, and Ray ordered us burgers, extra fries, like it was the most normal thing. But it wasn't. Not with the way his knee bumped mine under the table and stayed there, warm through denim. Not with the way he watched my mouth when I laughed at his bad jokes. "You're quiet today," he said, dipping a fry in ketchup, his voice low to dodge the waitress's chatter. "Something eating you?" I poked at my bun, the truth bubbling like the Coke in my glass. Jake doesn't know about this. Fishing." The word slipped out, heavy as a sinker. Ray's fork paused midair. He wouldn't get it. Thinks I'm the screw-up uncle dragging strays into trouble. He leaned in, elbow on the formica, close enough I could smell sawdust and soap on him. "But you're no stray, Elliot. You're the first real conversation I've had in years." My breath hitched. "Me? I'm just real," he cut in fierce. "Honest. In a world full of poses." His hand covered mine then, brief as a spark but electric, thumb stroking my knuckle before pulling away like it burned. The waitress dropped the check, oblivious, and we drove back in charged silence, the storm breaking overhead in sheets that matched the one building inside me. That night, Jake cornered me at his locker. "Dude, where you been? Skipping practice for what?" His eyes narrowed, playful but probing. "Mom says Uncle Ray's been vanishing afternoons. You two plotting world domination or something." I forced a laugh, slamming my locker shut. "Nah, just helping him with sketches. For a job." Lie upon lie, stacking like cordwood. He bought it, clapping my back. "Cool. But don't let him corrupt you. Guy's got a rap sheet longer than my grandma's rosary." Corrupt. The word echoed as I biked home. Rain-slick streets reflecting street lamps like shattered promises. Was that what this was? Corruption? Or salvation? In flannel and blue eyes? The betrayal came swift as a strike. 2 weeks in, Ray texted late. "Can't make tomorrow. Family stuff." I stared at the screen, gut twisting, until Jake's call lit it up. "Emergency, man. Uncle Ray's in the ER. Slipped on a ladder. Busted his ankle bad." I was there before visiting hours ended, sneaking past the nurses in my hoodie, heart in my throat. He was propped in a sterile bed, leg elevated in a cast that looked like a plaster anchor, face pale but grinning when he saw me. Knew you'd show, kid. Like a bad penny. The room smelled of antiseptic and wilted flowers from his sister. We talked low, his hand finding mine under the thin blanket, fingers interlacing like they'd always belonged. Missed the river, he murmured. Missed you. The confession spilled then, hushed and halting. Elliot, it's more than fishing. For me, anyway. Been alone too long, telling myself it was fine. Then you, with your sketches and your quiet fire. Makes me want things I swore off after the core. Real things. I squeezed his hand, tears pricking. Me too. God, Ray, I think about you all the time. But Jake, your family. Forget he growled, but soft. This is us. We'll figure it. We kissed there, tentative, his lips rough and tasting of hospital jello, mine trembling with the weight of finally. It was chaste, a brush of souls more than bodies, but it sealed us. In that fluorescent glow, with beeps from monitors like a mechanical heartbeat, I fell hard, irreversible. Recovery stretched the days. Ray hobbed around on crutches, sidelined from work, crashing longer at Jake's. I visited under guises. Homework help, comic swaps, stealing moments in the garage, his arms pulling me close when no one watched, whispers of soon and mine against my hair. It was a secret summer, sweet as stolen fruit, until the rot set in. Jake found out first, of course. Walked in on us in the backyard one dusk, Ray's hand on my waist as we laughed over a half-caught firefly. The look on his face, shock, then fury, like I'd gutted him with my own rod. What the fuck, Elliot? Uncle Ray? You're gay? And with him. Words tumbled, denials, pleas. But he was gone, tires squealing down the drive. Ray tried to follow, crutches clattering, but I held him back. Let me fix this. You can't, he said, voice cracking. Kid, I should have known. I'm the adult here. This is on me. The fallout was biblical. Jake's mom banned me from the house. Her calls to my parents laced with concerned venom that seeped into dinner tables and school halls. Whispers followed me, fag, homewrecker, until the weight bent me double. Dad confronted me one night, belt in hand, not for striking but for emphasis. Is it true, son? That man's old enough to know better. And you? Tears came then, hot and honest. I love him, Dad. It's not dirty. It's real. He deflated, belt dropping, pulling me into a hug that smelled of motor oil and regret. Love ain't the problem. Keeping it hidden is. Mom cried, but held me tighter. We're here, baby. Always. Ray vanished after that. Packed his truck one dawn, leaving a note for his sister. Need space. Tell the kid I'm sorry. He'll be okay. Jake wouldn't speak to me, his texts unread ghosts. The lake mocked me now. Empty hooks and silent waters. Every cast a reminder of what I'd lost. Months blurred. Fall leaves turning to snow. Art class where my sketches turned dark. Heroes broken on jagged shores. I applied to Chicago on a whim, acceptance letter a lifeline. But the ache lingered, a hook barbed deep. Climax hit on graduation eve. Ray's truck rumbled up my drive, dustier than memory. Him leaning on the hood with a cane instead of crutches, thinner but steady. Heard you got into Chicago. Proud as hell. I stood frozen on the porch, heart a wild thing. You left. No goodbye. Couldn't face it. Thought I was poison. Dragging you down. His eyes, those storm blue depths, shimmered. But I can't stop, Elliot. Loving you. It's the one fight I won't walk from. The neighbor's lights flickered on, but we didn't care. I crossed the lawn, arms around him, his cane clattering forgotten. Then stay. Fight with me. We kissed under the porch light. Deeper now, the world fading to just us. Flawed, fierce, found. Jake came around eventually, grudging apologies over bad coffee. His hug bone-crushing. You're still my brother, idiot. Just no more family fishing trips. The ending wasn't fairy tale clean. Ray found steady work in Chicago, subletting near my dorm. We navigated the gaps. Age, scars, stares. With the patience of anglers waiting for the bite. Summers back in Ann Arbor. We fished again. lines cast side by side, stories unfolding like rivers to the sea. It was humanistic, messy grace. Two outcasts building a life from hooks and hope, proving love doesn't need perfection, just the courage to reel it in. And in those quiet dawns, rod in hand, his shoulder against mine, I knew we'd hooked something eternal. The summer after graduation melted into a haze of packing boxes and goodbye barbecues. The kind where aunts pinch your cheeks and uncles slap your back with advice as stale as week-old Wonder Bread. Ann Arbor felt smaller now, its tree-lined streets closing in like a well-meaning hug that's lasted too long. Chicago loomed on the horizon, a skyline promise of reinvention, but leaving meant untangling from Ray in ways I hadn't braced for. We'd stolen weekends in his sister's basement, whispering futures over contraband beers, but reality was a sharper hook. His divorce papers from a marriage I'd never known about, yellowed relics from a Vegas chapel 15 years back, dissolved in quiet before I ever cast my line. "You think they'll buy it?" I asked one night, sprawled on his lumpy couch, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my arm. The TV flickered some cop show rerun, blue light dancing shadows across his stubble. "Buy what? Us?" He chuckled low, pulling me closer, his breath warm against my temple. "Kid, at our age, folks stop asking questions. They assume your trouble and move on." But trouble we were. Jake had thought enough for a tentative truce. Texts about college football, a shared eye roll at his mom's latest casserole disaster. But the fracture lingered, a hairline crack in our brotherhood. "Don't fuck this up, L," he'd warned over lukewarm pizza at Zola Bistro, his eyes flicking to Ray across the lot. "He's family. You're, whatever this is. Whatever." The word stung like salt in a fresh wound. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. Love, God damn it, the kind that reshapes you. But Midwestern restraint held my tongue. Instead, I hugged him fierce, mumbling, "Won't, promise." Move-in day at UChicago was chaos incarnate. Dorms reeking of fresh paint and ramen futures, parents hovering like helicopters until Dad finally clapped Ray on the back, awkward, appraising, and Mom pressed a Tupperware of lasagna into my hands. "Call every Sunday, here?" They drove off, taillights fading into the loop's bustle. And there I was, 18, untethered, with a city at my feet and Ray's apartment key burning a hole in my pocket. His place was a third-floor walk-up in Hyde Park, overlooking the lakefront where Obama once strolled, exposed brick walls cluttered with tools and half-finished birdhouses, a kitchenette that smelled of pine tar and takeout. "Home sweet temporary," he said, tossing my duffel onto the futon that would be mine until I found my footing. We christened it that night with takeout Thai and a bottle of cheap Merlot, his laughter rumbling as I spilled noodles down my shirt. Clumsy as ever. Good thing I like you messy. Messy we were, in the best way. Mornings tangled in sheets that smelled of him. Coffee brewed strong while he sketched blueprints on napkins. Evenings walking the promontory where Lake Michigan crashed like applause. He enrolled in night classes at the community college, carpentry certs to legitimize the freelance gigs, and I dove into foundation drawing, my professors mistaking my raw lines for genius instead of grief. "Channel that emotion," one said, peering at a charcoal of a man by water, hook midcast. If only she knew the model. But conflict brews in calm waters. Fall quarter hit like a nor'easter, syllabus storms and all-nighters blurring days into a grind. Ray's jobs picked up, restorations for lakefront mansions, hours that stretched till the L rumbled empty home. We'd collide in the witching hour, him exhausted, me frayed, arguments sparking over nothing. Forgotten dishes, whose turn for laundry. "You're pulling away," I'd accuse, sketching furiously to fill the silence. "I'm providing, L. This ain't fairy tale. Bills don't pay themselves." His voice would soften then, hands cupping my face. "Hey, we're good. Just adjusting." Adjusting. To what? The age gap that showed in his bad knee on rainy days. My impatience with his war stories retold like rosaries. To the world outside, where hand-holding drew stares on Michigan Avenue. Whispers of gold digger, from baristas who didn't know the half. Or worse, the calls from Ann Arbor. Jake's mom, Veiled barbs about that phase. Dad's gruff. How's the weather up there? That skirted the heart. The betrayal slithered in via email, innocuous as a forwarded chain. Ray's inbox, left open on the laptop while he showered. A thread from an old Marine buddy. Tom, stateside now in Detroit. Heard you're shacked up with some college kid. Careful, brother. Remember what happened last time? Don't want another heartbreak on your tab. Attached, a grainy photo from years back. Ray younger, arm around a guy with my same haunted eyes, both in fatigues, laughing under a foreign sun. His name was Alex. Yours? Shower shut off. I slammed the lid, heart hammering. When he emerged, towel slung low, I was pacing, printout clutched like evidence. Who the hell is Alex? The color drained from his face, steam curling around him like ghosts. It's not. Save it. Last time? How many last times? Ray, how many kids you reel in, then cut loose? He sank onto the bed, head in hands. Alex was different. We were in the sandbox together. Fell hard, stupid. He didn't make it back. IED third tour. After that, I shut down. Married a ghost to prove I could normal. It wrecked her. Wrecked me. His voice broke, raw. You ain't a repeat, Elliot. You're the first since who made me believe in after. I wanted to believe, but doubt was a current, pulling strong. Then why hide it? Why let me think I was your big revelation? Pride. Shame. Pick your poison. He reached for me, but I stepped back, the chasm widening. I was gonna tell you, over Thanksgiving, when things settled. Settled. The word mocked. I stormed out, pounding pavement till my lungs burned. The lake a black void mirroring my rage. Betrayal wasn't the lie. It was the half-truths, the barriers he'd built to protect us both, now crumbling under their weight. Days blurred into radio silence. I crashed at a classmate's, sketching nightmares of hooks through hearts. Jake texted. Mom says Ray's a mess. What's up? I spilled, voice memos cracking with hurt. He called back. Dude, go easy. Uncle Ray's not perfect, but he's solid. Fought for you when no one else did. Thanksgiving loomed, a family summons I dreaded. Back in Ann Arbor, the house swelled with turkey and tension. Jake's awkward bro hugs, parents' forced cheer. Ray showed, cane-free now, bringing pie from the blue moon. Our eyes met across the table, a storm unspoken. After grace, he pulled me onto the porch, November chill nipping at our coats. I'm sorry, he said, no preamble. For the secrets. For making you doubt. His hands framed my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't noticed. Alex was loss, not love like this. You're my now, my always, if you'll have me. The dam broke. Kisses fierce and forgiving. Cold air no match for the heat between us. Inside, laughter swelled. Out here we mended, thread by thread. Winter quarter brought fragile peace. Ray opened up. Stories of Alex's laugh, the letters he'd burned to ashes. I shared my fears, the coming out call to mom that ended in sobs, and I knew, baby, always knew. We built rituals. Sunday sketches by the window, his birdhouses dotting our sill like fledglings. But climax brewed in spring, when Tom's email chain went viral in Ray's old unit group. Gossip fodder, judgments slung like mud. You're a predator, one wrote. Grooming the boy. Ray's phone exploded. Jobs dried up overnight. He spiraled, nights at dive bars till I dragged him home, reeking of regret. See? Told you I'd poison it. No, I fierce whispered, holding him as he shook. We're the antidote. The confrontation came at a unit reunion in Detroit. Ray insisted to face the fire. I drove, knuckles white on the wheel. The bar was dim, smoke-hazed. Vets clustered like thunderheads. Tom spotted us first, beer gut spilling over his belt. Grin sly. Brought the arm candy, eh? Careful, kid, he's got a type. Ray's fist clenched, but I stepped up, voice steady. Know your type, two cowards who snipe from afar. Ray's a better man than you'll ever be. Lost more, loved harder. Silence fell thick. Tom flushed, mumbling retreat. The room shifted, murmurs turning curious, then respectful. An old sergeant clapped Ray's shoulder. "Proud of you, son. Took guts." We drove home lighter, the lakefront welcoming with stars like scattered lures. "You saved me," Ray said, hand over mine on the gearshift. "Nah, we saved each other." Summer bloomed full. Internship at a comics house. Ray's custom builds for queer youth centers. Pride flags fluttering from our balcony. The emotional undercurrent ran deep. Letters to Alex's family, closure in ink. My first published strip, a fisherman and his shadow finding light. Betrayal's scar faded to silver, a reminder not of fracture, but forge. In America's heartland sprawl, from Michigan waters to Windy City pulse, we carved our story, humanistic and whole. Love, it turned out, wasn't a hook to snag and release. It was the line that held, steady through storms, pulling us home. Junior year crashed in like a rogue wave, syllabus tsunamis and studio critiques that left my ego bruised black and blue. The comics internship had morphed into a part-time gig at a South Side publisher, churning out panels for indie titles that bled queer narratives, vampires in leather bars, time-traveling twinks rewriting history. It paid peanuts, but the validation was gold. My name in fine print, Ray clipping reviews to the fridge like trophies. "Look at you conquering," he'd say, pride swelling his chest as we split Lo Mein on the fire escape, city lights winking approval below. But success has teeth. Deadlines gnawed at our time. Ray's contracts pulling him to Milwaukee weekends for Victorian rehabs that paid the rent but stole his weekends. Loneliness crept in, a slow current eroding our banks. I'd come home to empty rooms, sketching phantoms. His silhouette by the window, absent. Texts pinged sporadic. "Stuck in traffic. Miss your face." I'd reply with hearts, but the ache built, a hollow in my gut like the silence after a cast. Jake visited once, barreling down I-94 in his hand-me-down Civic, crashing our couch with stories of MSU parties and a girlfriend named Tara who totally gets the gay bestie vibe. We laughed till dawn over White Castle, but his eyes sharpened when Ray stumbled in late, sawdust in his hair. "You two still playing house? Mom worries, says it's unhealthy dynamics." I bristled, fork midway to mouth. "Tell her we're fine. Better than fine." He shrugged, but the seed lodged doubt. Insidious. Nights after, I'd lie awake, Ray snoring soft beside me, wondering, was this house or hotel, love or limbo? The conflict ignited over Labor Day, a cabin rental up in Door County. Ray's idea, reconnect, scrawled in his blocky script. The drive north was golden, windows down, Dylan crooning from the tape deck about tangled vines and knocking on heaven's door. The cabin perched on Lake Michigan's thumb, cedar walls fragrant with pine, a dock jutting like a promise into turquoise depths. We unpacked with the ease of old rhythms, me hanging hammocks, him firing up the grill for brats charred just right. That first evening, sunset bled the sky crimson, and we fished from the pier, lines lazy in the thermocline. "Remember our first?" Ray asked, beer in hand, foam clinging to his mustache like sea salt. "Like yesterday." I leaned into him, his arm an anchor around my shoulders. "You called me kid. Still do." He chuckled, kissing my temple. "Always will. My kid, the one who hooked me." The romance swelled, lazy days of bonfires and blueberry picking, nights where we'd make slow love by candlelight, bodies mapping each other like cherished coasts. "Forever," he'd murmur into my neck, and I'd believe it, the world shrinking to us. But paradise fractures. On the third day, a storm rolled in from the lake, winds howling like banshees, rain lashing the tin roof till it drummed our sanity thin. Power flickered out. We huddled by flashlight, cards scattered for gin rummy. Ray's phone buzzed insistent, a Milwaukee client panicking over delays. "Go," I said, masking the bite. "Fix it. I'll hold the fort." He hesitated, jaw tight. "Not leaving you solo in this mess. Go. We're solid. Lie even then." He drove out at dawn, wipers battling sheets, leaving me with the radio's static confessionals and a sketchpad that turned maudlin. Waves devouring docks, figures adrift. Solitude sharpened the edges. Doubts I'd buried rose, foaming. Was I holding him back? The young artist to his seasoned craftsman. A pretty distraction from real life? Back in Chicago, the drift accelerated. My portfolio show loomed, big deal, gallery scouting, and Ray's schedule mirrored it, cross-state halls for a museum Reno. We passed like ships, notes on the fridge, leftovers in fridge. Love you. I'd erase them, redraw hearts, but the paper yellowed. The betrayal this time was self-inflicted, a mirror crack. At the show opening, loft space in Pilsen, walls hung with my panels of shadowed lovers. I scanned for him amid the wine sippers and critics. Late, always late. A colleague, Marcus. Lithe, with ink-sleeve arms and a laugh like jazz. Clinked glasses. Elliot, these are killer. That Fisherman series? Haunting. Thanks. I flushed, wine warming the void. He lingered, compliments flowing easy. His hand brushing mine over hors d'oeuvres. We should collab. Your lines, my colors, magic. Magic. The word tempted, a siren's call. When Ray burst in at evening's end, Ty askew, apologies tumbling. Traffic was hell. I was mid-laugh with Marcus, our heads bent close over a print. Ray's face shuddered, blue eyes storming. He shook hands stiff, small talk clipped, and we drove home in ice-thick silence. You were cozy, he said finally, merging onto the Dan Ryan. Horns blaring chorus. Jealous. I snapped, defensive. He's a colleague. Networking. Looked like more. His grip whitened on the wheel. Kid like you, talent pouring out. Guys like him circle like sharks. And you? The older mentor who saves me? Who's the shark? Ray? Brakes squealed into our lot. He killed the engine. Cab humming tension. This what we're doing now? Throwing barbs. I stormed up the stairs, door slamming echo. He followed, cane tapping like accusation. Elliot, talk. Don't shut down. But I did, couch fort of blankets and spite. Morning brought coffee truce, but the rift gaped. Arguments cycling. His absences, my ambitions. The unspoken fear we'd outgrown our lines. Climax crested midterms. A call from an arbor shattering the standoff. Jake. Mom's bad, cancer. Stage 3. Uncle Ray's. He's stepping up, but it's ugly. I dropped everything, portfolio half-rendered, train ticket burned. The hospital was a fluorescent purgatory, beeps and bleach, Jake hollow-eyed in the waiting room. She asked for you, he said, voice cracking. Thinks of you like blood. Ray was there, holding his sister's hand, face carved from granite. Our eyes met over 4 stands, raw, reconciling. Later, in the cafeteria jello glow, he pulled me aside. Hate fighting like that. Makes me fear losing you. We're losing each other? I whispered, hand finding his. But not now. Not to this. We rallied, family forged in chemo suites and hospice hushed. Ray built her a porch swing for home days. Me sketching caricatures of her as a superhero. Cape flowing. Jake and I bonded over bad vending machine coffee. Bridges mending. You're good for him, he admitted. For us. Mom beat the odds, remission a miracle whispered. But the scare reshaped us. Back in Chicago, Ray quit the traveling gigs, local only, birdhouses for kids centers doubling as therapy. I pulled back on shows, nights reserved for us. Fishing the lagoons, lines cast in tandem. Emotion deepened, humanistic layers peeling. We volunteered at a youth center. Me teaching comics to closeted teens. Ray leading woodshops where hammers banged out shame. One kid, mirror of my 17 self, confessed over sawdust. Scared to tell my dad. Ray knelt. I level. Fear's the real enemy. But love, it'll carry you. Watching him, I saw the full man. Scarred Marine, lost lover, steadfast heart. Our romance reignited. Not fireworks but hearth glow. Slow dances in the kitchen to Coltrane. Sketches of us intertwined, eternal. Betrayal's echo faded. In its wake, growth. America's pulse diverse, demanding. taught us love's not possession, but partnership. Through storms and stills, we held the line. Hooks traded for hands, reeling toward a horizon shared. Senior year unfolded like a well-thumbed graphic novel. Predictable beats laced with plot twists that kept the pages turning. My thesis series, Real Lives, ballooned into a gallery exhibit at the Smart Museum, panels chronicling our odyssey from Ann Arbor shallows to Chicago depths. Inked confessions of first casts, betrayals barbed like treble hooks, redemptions in release. Critics buzzed, raw, resonant, and suddenly, offers trickled. Residencies in Brooklyn, publishing deals with imprints hungry for queer voices. Ray clipped them all. Fridge a war room of yellow sticks, but his grin hid a shadow, the quiet math of futures diverging. He'd stabilized, steady foreman at a Lincoln Park restoration firm. Nights captaining the youth center's build crew, crafting tiny libraries for neighborhood kids. Your empire's rising, he'd tease over breakfast burritos, but his eyes held questions. Where do I fit in the big panels? The drama simmered low till spring break, a spontaneous road trip south. Nashville for honky-tonks and hidden histories. Ray's playlist heavy on Cash and the Chicks. The Mustang he'd rebuilt purred highway miles, windows down, wind whipping confessions free. Ever think about Texas? He asked, hand on my thigh as billboards blurred. My folks' ranch. Quiet. Space to breathe. I laughed, sketching roadside motels on a napkin. Breathe? We're in the thick of it. Thesis defense next month. Can't bail for cowboy hats. His jaw ticked. Not bailing. Just dreaming. You go places, L. Big ones. Me? I'm the anchor. Anchor. The word landed heavy, chain rattling. That night in a smoky mountain cabin, log walls echoing our whispers, I pushed back. You're not anchor. You're the current. Pulling me forward. We made love fierce, reclaiming, but dawn brought the undercurrent. His phone. A job offer from Austin firm. 6 figures for historical revamps. Think on it, the email urged. He hadn't mentioned it. Why hide? I demanded, coffee scalding my tongue. Didn't hide. Just timing. His eyes evaded, blue shifting to gray. You've got New York knocking. Figured you'd want options. Options. Plural. As if we weren't one story. The drive home crackled tension. Radio silenced. Nashville's neon a fading regret. Back in the city, conflict escalated. My advisor gushed over residency apps. Berlin. Tokyo. While Ray's crew wrapped a theater gut. Overtime bleeding into exhaustion. Arguments flared domestic. Forgotten anniversaries. Our 3-year. Marked by takeout instead of the planned skyline dinner. His sudden silences over my success toasts. Happy for you, he'd say. But the words rang hollow, laced with the fear of being left sketching in margins. Betrayal struck sly, via Jake's offhand drop during a FaceTime happy hour. Tara pregnant, wedding bells in summer, and Uncle Ray's been cagey. Talking Texas with Mom, like he's itching to bolt. Bolt. The accusation festered. Confrontation exploded that weekend. Me storming his workshop after a double shift. Sawdust swirling like accusations. Texas? Running again? Can't handle me shining? He dropped his chisel, face ashen. It's not L. Listen. The job's real money. Stability. For us. Folks down there got land, legacy. Thought. Maybe a base. You could freelance, visit. Visit? Like a weekend fling. Hurt lashed out, venomous. I'm not your side plot, Ray. This is my life exploding. Us exploding? And you're packing saddlebags? He advanced, hands raised. Exploding apart, you mean? You're 21, kid. World at your feet. I'm 46, creaky knee and all. Don't want to clip your wings. Wings? You're clipping us. Tears hot, I shoved past, door-banging finality. The chasm yawned. Days of ghosting. My bed cold. His couch a fortress. Jake mediated, calls pleading. He's scared. L lost too much to lose you easy. Mom chimed in, voice soft. Love's work, honey. Reel it back. Climax crested at my thesis opening. Gallery humming with art crowd. Panels glowing under spots. Our first lake, his marine ghosts, the hook's release. I paced, tie choking, scanning for him. Late again. Whispers swirled. Where's the muse? And doubt drowned me, a base fighting fatal. Then, doors swung. Ray, suit crisp, arm linked with Jake and Tara, his sister beaming remission radiant. He wove through, eyes locked mine, stopping before the centerpiece. A double portrait, us back to back, rods crossed like vows. Breathtaking, he murmured, voice thick. You! The crowd blurred. I pulled him to the alcove, hearts hammering duet. Thought you bailed. Almost did. Honesty raw. Boarded a flight to Austin yesterday. Scared shitless you'd outgrow me. Landed, walked the ranch, saw my old man hobbling fences. Called Jake mid-milking. Tell Elle I'm an idiot. Coming back. Relief crashed, salty. Idiot. But mine. He kissed me then, public and unapologetic, soft, claiming, gallery gasps a distant tide. Yours. Thesis or Tokyo, anchor or current. I'm in every panel. Emotion surged post-show, after-party spilling to our fire escape, city a confetti backdrop. We talked till stars wheeled. His Texas as tether, not escape. My residencies as visits, roots here. Build with me, he said. Ring box conjured from pocket. A simple band, silver like hooks, engraved real steady. Not proposal. Promise. Whatever shape. Tears mingled with laughter. I slipped it on. Fit perfect. Jake toasted later, slurring. To the weirdest family. Don't fuck it. Summer wove us tighter. Wedding crashers at Jake's nuptials. Ray walking Tara down. Sister sciatica flaring. Me best man sketching vows in real time. Mom's diner shifts eased with my first royalty check. Dad bonded with Ray over engine rebuilds. Gruff approval thawing. Humanistic threads embroidered. Youth center expansions. My strips syndicating in alt weeklies. Tales of love's labor. Ray's birdhouses dotted parks. Nests for fledglings finding flight. Romance deepened. Anniversaries at Door County. Storms now danced through, not fled. Betrayal's ghost? Banished to backstory. Lesson inked. Love endures not despite flaws, but through them. In America's vast canvas, from lake lures to urban pulses, we etched our arc, dramatic yet tender. A gay epic proving hearts, once hooked, hold eternal. Post-grad glow faded fast into the grind of real world, where rent checks bite harder than deadlines and dreams defer to spreadsheets. My Brooklyn residency landed. A 6-month stint at a Bushwick collective, lofts echoing with welders and wonder, panels birthing for a debut graphic novel. Hooked lines, our story fictionalized. Protagonists a drifter carpenter and aspiring inker navigating heartland hooks to skyline sinks. Publishers sniffed, advances whispered, but the move meant miles. Ray staying Chicago-rooted, his firm expanding local. Youth Center now a nonprofit with him at helm. Goodbye's just a plot point, he said at O'Hare, arms crushing me pre-TSA, his stubble rasping my cheek. Chapters, not end. Chapters, I echoed, throat tight, boarding pass crumpled like resolve. The flight east was turbulence-tossed, mirroring the pit in my gut. Love stretched thin as a monofilament line, fraying under distance's pull. Bushwick buzzed electric. Graffiti murals bleeding color. Nights pulsing with queer open mics where I'd read excerpts. Voices trembling tales of Ray's laugh. His hands calloused from creation. Colleagues crashed couches. Romances flickered flirtatious. Dinners with a tattooed editor. Coffee with a sculptor whose eyes held storms. But none hooked deep. Texts bridged gaps. Panel 47 done. Miss your critique. His replies. Nailed it. Birdhouse 52 shipped. Kid's first queer flag on it. Home soon? Months blurred, sketches stacking. Launch party buzz building. Jake FaceTimed sporadically. Baby bump on Tara rounding. Uncle Ray's moping like a wet cat. Says your book's his Bible. Mom sent care packages, Michigan cherry jam. Notes. Proud. Call Dad. He misses his son-in-law grumbles. But distance dredges depths. Rumors surfaced via group chat. Ray spotted at a Wrigleyville bar. arm slung casual around a younger volunteer's shoulder, laugh booming free. Just networking, Jake swore, but doubts Barb sank. Was he lonely? Reeling solo? Confrontation brewed over a red-eye return for the center's gala. Me in rumpled chinos, him tuxed crisp, venue a converted warehouse strung fairy lights. He spotted me across the crowd, grin splitting wide, pulling me into a spin that drew whoops. Artist returns. Books killer pre-ordered 10. We danced cheek to cheek, his hand warm at my waist, but whispers nagged. The volunteer, Ethan, 20-something, earnest, helping with builds. Great kid. Ray enthused later, over past hors d'oeuvres. Reminds me of you. Fire in the belly. Fire. The word ignited old insecurities. That night, hotel sheets tangled. I pressed, Ethan, what's his story? Ray stilled, lamp glow carving shadows. Jealous streak showing? Distance does that. Honesty spilled. Saw the pics, laughing like we used to. He sighed, propping on elbow, eyes searching. He's a mentee. Lost like I was post-core. Helping him build shelves, not anything else. Pause, heavy. But yeah, it stings. Seeing you thrive out there. Wondering if I'm enough anchor for your sails. Vulnerability cracked us open. Tears traced temples. You're the whole damn sea. I whispered, kisses ceiling. Don't doubt. We're ocean, not puddle. Romance reignited dawn bright. Gala afterglow spilling to lakefront walks. His stories of center triumphs. Teens coming out mid-hammer swing. Shelves stocked with my donated proofs. But climax loomed in launch week. New York party, publishers toasting, my agent gushing six-figure deals. Ray flew in, economy cramped, suit borrowed from Jake, standing awkward amid glitterati. Proud. He mouthed over champagne flutes, but his eyes shadowed. Fish out of water, hook-mouthed. Post-party, rooftop bar overlooking Manhattan's electric sprawl. The betrayal unspooled. Not his but mine in neglect skies. This world's yours, he said, skyline reflecting in his glass. Fast, fierce. Me? I'm porch swings and power tools. Dragging you back. No. But the seed, planted long, sprouted. A scout from LA had cornered me earlier. Film adaptation whispers. Your muse on screen? Ray, reduced to character, immortal yet sidelined. Argument erupted under stars. You think I'm holding you? He accused, voice rising over traffic hum. Not holding. Haunting. Like I'm chasing ghosts of what we could be if I stayed small. Words vicious, born of fear. He recoiled, face crumpling. Small? That's what you see. Stormed out, cab vanishing into canyons. Panic surged. I chased on foot, blocks blurring, lungs burning. Found him at the High Line, rail leaning, city pulse mocking our fracture. Ray, stop, please. He turned, rain starting. A spring squall, fitting. Can't compete with this, L. Your fire needs fuel I ain't got. Bullshit. I grabbed his lapels, soaked through. You're the spark. The book? Sus every line you're doing. Without you, it's blank pages. Thunder cracked. Truth followed. Scared, he admitted, forehead to mine, of losing you to lights bigger than mine. Never. Thou sealed in downpour, arms locking, rain washing doubt clean. We cabbed back, dripping, laughing at the absurdity. Love's dramatics, cinematic. Resolution bloomed humanistic. Residency wrapped, book soaring, but I negotiated hybrid Brooklyn base, Chicago heart. Ray expanded the center nationally, franchises in queer hubs, his name in trades now too. We bought a fixer-upper in Logan Square, porch swing his design, walls for my studio, roots digging deep. Years layered, Jake's kid, our godson, toddling with toy rods. Mom's retirement diner booth reserved for brunches. Dad and Ray's garage band, covers of Dylan duets. Emotion wove rich, charity comics for center funds. Ray's speeches at Pride galas. Love hooked me when I least deserved it. Pay it forward. Ending soft, not tragic blaze but enduring ember. 10th anniversary at Dexter Lake. Rods retired for wine, sunset gilding waters. Still got me? He asked, ring glinting, mine now matched. Always, I said, sketching us faint on napkin. Hooked for life. In America's tapestry, dramatic dives, romantic rises, betrayals bridged, we proved. Love's story isn't perfection's arc, but persistence's pull. Human, heartfelt, eternally reeled.